The House will come to order. Today, Oscar Goebbels, a second grader from STEM Lab in North Glen, and Charlotte Goebbels, his younger sister, will be leading us in the pledge today, guests of Representative Wilford.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schiebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile, Armagost, Bacon, Byrd, Bockenfeld, Basenecker, Bottoms, Bradfield, Bradley, Catlin, Doherty, she's here, DeGraff, Degree Kennedy, Dixon, Representative Dixon, Duran, English, Epps, Representative Epps, Rep. Epps is excused. Evans, Frizzell, Froelich, Garcia, Gonzalez Gutierrez, Hamrick, Hartsook, Herod, Representative Herod,
Excused.
Holtorf, Judah, Joseph, Kip, Leader, Lindsay, Linstead, Luck, Lukens, Lynch, Mabry, Marshall, Martinez, Morrow, McCormick, McLaughlin, Michelson Janae, Ortiz, Parenti, Puglisi, Ricks, Sharbini, Sirota, Snyder, Soper, Representative Soper,
Excused.
Story, Taggart, he's here, Tatone, Valdez, Velasco, Vigil, Weinberg, Weissman, Wilford, Wilson, Winter, Woodrow, Young, and Madam Speaker.
Here. Members, with 61 present, 2 excused, 1 vacant, we do have a quorum. Representative Wilford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the Journal of Friday, January 27th, 2023 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. Representative Wilford, you have your work cut out for you. The motion is adopted. Members, announcements and introductions. Representative Michelson Janae.
Members, I have a very important announcement. On your desk is information about 988, which is the National Crisis Hotline. We know that some of your aides and the community are having struggles. There are 2 pens, one for you, one for your aide. Please do share this information. What's important to know is 988 is answered here in Colorado by Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners. This is a local call, so you will get local support, and anything that you consider a crisis, you get to call 988 and they will be here to help you. Please do share this information.
Thank you. Representative Bradley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have been excused by Majority Leader and Minority Leader to not be here on February 3rd. They're going to have a memorial for my niece, so thank you.
So approved. Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is so fun to serve with you.
And with you.
Tomorrow, House Transportation, Housing, and Local Government will meet at 1:30 in Old State Library. First to hear some bills, then we adjourn, then we go into joint session for presentations. Look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you. Rep. Bradfield, did you have an announcement?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank Dan File for the opening prayer today. And I also just want to remind you that tomorrow is Tuesday, 7:15, Capitol Commission, our Bible study. It's open to any of us that would like to know more about the Lord's Word. 7:15, ground level, room 109. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Michelson-Janae for a second time.
Sorry, Madam Speaker.
No problem.
I have permission to be excused tomorrow morning, but I will be here for the afternoon.
So approved. Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have been excused on February 6th after adjournment. Thank you very much for the permission.
So approved. Representative Holtorf, did you have an announcement? Members, I would like to acknowledge our newest either representative appointed or representative elect for House District 12 as a guest today. Kyle Brown, please give a wave. We will look forward to his swearing in the next few days. Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Finance Committee, we're meeting today at 1:30 to hear Bills 1016, House Bill 1016 and House Bill 1021. 1015 is postponed until Thursday, and on Thursday we'll be hearing House Bill 1081, House Bill 1091, House Bill 1084, and the aforementioned House Bill 1015. Thank you. See you at 1:30 today.
Thank you. Additional announcements and introductions? Representative Weinberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, everybody. In continuation with late Hugh McKean's tradition of postmarking the Loveland stamp, if anybody has any Valentine's that they're sending out, if you could get it over to my desk. If you have any questions as to what exactly this is, because I know there's a lot of freshmen here, please catch me, and I'd be happy to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Weinberg, for continuing the tradition. All right. I believe, members, we have a tribute. Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We do have a tribute, and I would ask that it be read at length, please.
Mr. Schiebel.
Mr. Schiebel, yeah.
The Senate and House of Representatives convened in the 74th General Assembly hereby commemorates Colorado 4-H Day. The Colorado 4-H Youth Development Program is founded on the notion that youth are a vital resource for ensuring a better tomorrow. 4-H grows young people with essential life skills like confidence, courage, resilience, and curiosity who are empowered and prepared for life today and tomorrow. More than 107,000 Colorado youth contribute to their communities and gain practical experience in workforce preparation and career exploration throughout their 4-H projects and activities. The 4-H organization is led by a unique public-private partnership, which includes the National 4-H Council and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. 4-H inspires its members to make contributions to their communities, make healthier choices, and participate in science, engineering, and computer technology programs during out-of-school time. The Colorado General Assembly salutes the Colorado 4-H program in its efforts to prepare Colorado's youth for the future and thanks the volunteers whose efforts enhance the 4-H experience. On request of Representatives Mark Catlin, Karen McCormick, Barbara McLaughlin, and Ty Winter, and Senators Dylan Roberts, Nick Henriksen, Cleve Simpson, and Perry Will, given this 30th day of January 2023, State Capitol, Denver.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, we want to welcome all the great 4-H members from across the state here today, and I just want to say a little bit more about the great work that they do. This organization for over 100 years has welcomed young people of all beliefs and backgrounds, giving kids a voice to express who they are and how they make their lives and communities better. They believe in everybody's potential and developing young people who are empowered and confident, hardworking, determined, responsible, and compassionate. They support youth development by creating positive learning experiences and they have caring and trusted adult mentors to help them through this process. Their goal is to meet young people where they are. They're across every single one of our counties here in our state, from urban, suburban, and rural projects are happening with these young kids. We thank you so much for being today. I know we have many, many 4-H members, 4-H senators, 4-H shooting sports ambassadors, senators from all over the state. And I do want to give a warm welcome. We're going to have other members speak to their particular areas, but they're lining the benches on the side here, and so if everyone could give them a warm welcome, I would really appreciate it.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
And an honor to serve with you.
And it's an honor to be here today. 4-H is a very special group of people. The people that help 4-H are even more special. We have an opportunity to reach out and touch the youth of the state of Colorado, and this is one of those days where we in the Capitol building reach out and say to you, thank you for being involved, thank you for taking a share of your future, thank you for helping with the future of Colorado. 4-H builds leaders. You'd be surprised how many 4-H members sit in this building. They've been involved with 4-H through their lives. It takes them out in front of their community and allows them to become leaders. But not only a leader of their community, but a leader of their homes. They become the kind of citizens that you and I, as legislators, are proud of. I am very proud of 4-H, what 4-H has done, and it's not simply a rural program anymore. People that live in the urban corridor can be in 4-H and thrive in 4-H because they've reached out and said, hey, we want you. And 4-H kids in urban Colorado are responding. That tells you how good a program this is. You know, we worry about our youth, what's happening to our youth, but we don't pay enough attention to the youth that are going and doing these kind of programs. I'm very proud of 4-H. They've done some amazing things. They continue to shift. They continue to add more and more people coming in and being involved. They are reaching out and impacting our future. And for that, I want to give them the greatest, heartiest welcome that we can here in the building. They're all over here. But remember, they will be your next leaders. Thank you very much.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I also want to give a shout out to the Mesa County 4-H that's here, although I lost them and trying to get down here on the floor. So they're somewhere out here. But I just want to say what 4-H does for rural Colorado every year on Color Sunday, the Plateau Valley 4-H does the beef roast up in Mesa, Colorado. And it's not just kids raising money for their projects, but it's actually the community coming together. And the same is done in Delta County in the 1st of March. And this is a real rallying point for the local communities that we like to rally around our kids, our schools. But this is one particular dinner where you can come and you can meet every single agricultural producer in the county. And this is probably the only time during the year they all get together. So it's those types of things that 4-H also does, in addition to training leaders and learning practical skills. Thank you for being here.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I fell in love with 4-H as a teacher because those were the kids in my class who, they were there every day, of course, but they were there, totally there. They did all their homework. They came in after school. They tutored other kids. They were kind, they were resourceful, they were smart, and they kept up with everything. And then you go to the county fair, and you see what they're doing when they're not in school, and they have these huge notebooks of the data they've kept and the cakes that they're baking, and they just did everything. And I was just always amazed and in wonder, and I still have a love affair with 4-H because they're just that's our future, and I'm so proud to have them as part of our future. So thank you, 4-H.
Representative Velasco.
I want to give a shout out to our Garfield County 4-H group of youth that came to visit today. And just to share that, we have a very diverse group in our 4-H in Garfield County that looks like the community. And I look forward to working together and supporting them.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have the privilege of having 3 counties represented here today, Morgan, Phillips, and Yuma County of the 7 counties in my district. So a shout out to those 4-Hers that are here. You are the future leaders in this state. I was a member of 4-H in my youth for 10 years. I got my 10-year pin. And I also was my chapter president for the Country Club 4-H Club. Later on in life, I had the privilege of serving as the leader of that 4-H club in Washington County, of the many 4-H clubs that we had in our county. So that was pretty special. I do want to let everybody in the chamber know that 4-H is a community of young people across America learning leadership, citizenship, and life skills. Now, Colorado State University Cooperative Extension has the land-grant mission to shepherd this program, as does every land-grant institution across our great country. There are very few countries in the world. We've tried to export this to every country, but not all the countries have this great model for youth. I also want to point out that there is a special pledge that we gave at every meeting we had. Now, 4-Hers, you need to stand up because we're going to say this pledge. And I want everybody to listen because this is very important. Because this involves everybody, regardless of race, ethnicity, or creed, or belief, anything. It's about being Americans first and putting these values that I'm going to mention right now in front of everything. So here we go. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Thank you.
Representative Lukens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm very excited that 4-H students are here today, and I am especially happy that they are here because a lot of them from Routt County are my former students. So thank you so much for being here today.
Representative Winter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, it's an honor and a privilege to recognize the 4-H kids from my district. First of all, my home county, Los Animas County, and also 4-H students from Baca County. So thank you all for making the trip. Would you please stand up and would you give them a hand, please? I want to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of 4-H that a lot of people don't realize. You know, these rural kids, they're the next true stewards of the agricultural community. These kids get up at 5 in the morning to make sure these animals are fed and have fresh water. They spend many of hours taming these animals to be able to take them to show. And the amount of time that they spend washing and drying and walking, they become really close with these animals. And we also see these kids cry when they sell their animals because they become so attached. And I know a lot of times there's people out there to try to make these 4-H kids and these FFA kids out to not care about those animals, but you need to know that these kids do a great job with their animals and they love their animals, but at the end of the day, they also realize it's a business too, and they have to send them on the sale truck. So, it's an honor to have these kids here. They are the true future leaders of this country. They are the next stewards of the land and of rural Colorado, and we need to give them as much access as we can to this building, because these kids should be encouraged to become the next state legislators that represent the citizens of Colorado. Thank you.
Representatives Kipp and Basenecker.
And we would just, along with our other Larimer County colleagues, Representative Lynch, Armagast, and Weinberg, would like to welcome our Larimer County 4-H folks. You guys want to stand up and let us welcome you? Thank you.
Any other members? Representative Luck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to recognize the Fremont County 4-Hers who are here today. I'm not really sure where they're sitting yet, but wherever you are.
Assistant Minority Leader Puglisi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was in 4-H growing up, and I just want to echo what Representative Catlin said. I grew up right outside of New York City, so most people don't think about 4-H in urban areas, but that was my first exposure to leadership, and here we are. So I'm really grateful to 4-H for everything they taught me as a young child. So thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments on our tribute? Yes, Representative Hamrick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As a teacher and representative of Arapahoe and Douglas County, do we have any Douglas County 4-Hers or Arapahoe 4-Hers? All right, thank you.
Great. Thank you, one and all. We love our 4-H programs. Any additional announcements or introductions? Excellent. Members, the day has arrived. Our next order of business is general orders, second reading of bills. Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez. Excellent. You have heard the motion, members. The House will now resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills. Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader. And it is pretty cold outside, members. I'm not sure if there's a need to relax. Oh, I am so sorry. The coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1033.
House Bill 1033 by Representatives Charbini and Joseph concerning persons with whom the Office of Alternate Defense Counsel may contract.
Representative Charbini.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move House Bill 1033 and ask for a yes vote. And there is no committee report.
To the bill. Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you, madam.
Thank you. This bill updates the OADC enabling statute to reflect current best practices in criminal defense. Colorado Revised Statute 21-2-101 requires the OADC to provide indigent person accused of crimes legal services that are commensurate with those available to non-indigent. Best practices in criminal defense have evolved to include defense through multidisciplinary teams. This include paralegals, social workers, case assistants, legal researchers, and other professionals. Current law only directs the OADC to contract with attorneys and investigators. In order to provide defense service commensurate with those available to non-indigents, the law must be updated to allow the OADC to contract with professionals beyond investigators and attorneys to include other professionals. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Charbini.
Just that we ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption or the passage of House Bill 1033. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. All right, House Bill 1033 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1049.
House Bill 1049 by Representatives Soper and Bacon, also Senators Gardner and Rodriguez, concerning the enactment of the Colorado Revised Statutes 2022 as the positive and statutory law of the state of Colorado.
It's a tie. Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1049, and there is no committee report.
To the bill. Representative Soper, continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, members, this is the most important bill of the year, aside from probably the reviser's bill. This is the bill that incorporates all the work that we did last year into the revised statutes. That's the set of red books that you see at different places in the chamber. If this bill doesn't pass, what ends up happening is the gray books that you see that are the session laws, we would have to go back to those to see what the changes were, and then we'd have to go back to the 2021 Colorado Revised Statutes to see what the incorporated statutes were. It would take those two books to really analyze what the law is. It would be a delay for lawyers, for the courts, for businesses. It would add confusion to what the law is. And in addition to the incorporation, if the bill drafters caught like a typo or, for example, a grammatical error, it would be corrected here along the way as well. And that those changes were made in the gray books that were distributed on Friday to every member. And we ask for a yes vote.
Any further discussion? I see members are on the edges of their seats. Any further discussion on House Bill 1049? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1049. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. No. House Bill 1049 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1052.
House Bill 1052 by Representative Marshall, also Senator Fields, concerning a requirement that a veteran who has individual employability status be treated equivalently to a veteran who has 100% permanent disability when determining eligibility for any state veterans benefits and in connection therewith, expanding eligibility for the property tax exemption for veterans with a disability to include a veteran who does not have a service-connected disability rated as a 100% permanent disability but does have individual unemployability status.
Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you, sir.
I move HB 1052 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
Great, to the bill. Representative Marshall.
Colleagues, we had a 9-0 committee unanimous vote in favor of this bill. This is not a new entitlement for anyone. What this bill does is include people that were inexplicably left out of a prior exemption in the veteran community. So I had a constituent approach me while I was campaigning that came up and said, hey, you know, I have an individual unemployability designation, an IU, and yet I'm excluded from the same benefits people that have 100% permanent and total rating is. I came from New York where they just automatically recognize the IU as the functional equivalent of 100% permanent and total. So the issue is these IUs cannot work. They have a medical condition that is so severe they cannot work. They are SSDI level, total occupational impairment. So the VA pays them at the 100% VA rate, even though they may not be at 100% on the rating charts. Well, what this does, though, is we put into the Colorado Constitution a definition for the homestead exemption that you had to be 100% rated permanent and total by the Veterans Administration. And just because you're 100% permanent and total doesn't mean you can't work. The VA actually wants veterans that are 100% to work if they can. There's a whole section of the VA, VOC Rehab, that intends to do that. So this is meant to fix this inequity where these individual veterans who cannot work at all are included in the same benefits. We will be following up with an HCR 1002 to correct the constitutional definition issue. But at the end of the day, it's only about a $600 benefit per an individual, and it's more of a matter of respect. So I ask again for an aye vote on this bill.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1052? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1052. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1052 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1004.
House Bill 1004 by Representative Velasco, also Senator Gonzalez, concerning requirements regarding the language used in certain insurance documents.
Representative Velasco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move HB 1004 and the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report.
Great. To the report, to committee report. Okay. Representative Velasco.
Thank you. The Business Affairs and Labor Committee heard great testimony and adopted an amendment that was requested by the insurance that clarified the timing and use of the form to designate which language the companies communicate with their insurers in. And this bill is this is just good business, is to make sure that insurance companies who are advertising in a language have those documents and policies in that language.
Is there any further discussion on the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The Business Affairs and Labor Committee report has been adopted. To the bill, Representative Velasco.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L002.
And you would ask that that be displayed?
Yes. And
One moment, Representative. Okay, the amendment is before us. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Amendment L002 makes clear that even though insurance companies will be required to translate all of their policy documents into the languages that they advertise in the case of a dispute between the translated document and the original document, the original English language version is always the controlling document.
Any further discussion on Amendment L002? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment L002 has been adopted. To the bill, Representative Velasco.
Thank you so much. I again move for the adoption of HB 1004 as amended.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1004? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1004 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1004 is adopted as amended. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1043.
House Bill 1043 by Representatives Lindsay and Puglisi, also Senators Janal and Rich, concerning the safety of children and youth through required background checks on adults when a child or youth is placed out of the home with kin, including relatives.
Representative Lindsay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
An honor to serve with you as well.
We move HB 1043 and the Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services Committee report.
Great. To the Public and Behavioral Health Human Services Committee report. Assistant Minority Leader Puglisi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you.
Thank you. We did have a few amendments that were taken care of in committee. Basically, what we're trying to do is take out the obstacles and barriers to children being placed with kin. We want to keep families together while obviously prioritizing the safety and welfare of the children first. So these amendments that we have are basically just changes that will withdraw those barriers and give the opportunity for kin to stay together. And do I have to get into like all of them? And that's my report. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question be, Representative Holtorf. And members, this is a good way to recall our memories that we need to be in the well if we wish to be a part of the debate. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe one foot was in the well as you noticed my hand in the air. But next time I'll make sure both feet are in the well. Thank you for that. I want to talk a little bit in committee about what was presented and the importance of keeping family units together. Oftentimes in this very difficult and challenging situation for human services and the caseworkers and the placement of children, it is very important that we try to keep family with family. I think that was discussed in committee, and therefore I am a strong supporter of keeping family with family as long as we have the firewalls in place so people do not slip through the cracks and possibly could be further harmed by family members that actually the children are being removed from because their inability to do the care and custody that's required to keep those children safe. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Minority Leader Puglisi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative, for your comments. Just want to be very clear that this just takes away the barriers, but not the safety measures that are in place to protect children while we're trying to keep families together. And it passed unanimously out of committee, and there's no appropriation, and we ask for an aye vote on the committee report. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on the committee report, the question before us is the adoption of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The committee report has been adopted. To the bill, Representative Lindsay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're here to present 1043, which deals with emergency continued placements with relatives or kin when a child is removed from the home. This bill simply widens the field of people to consider when making emergency and continued placements. As my colleague here stated, caseworkers will still perform thorough evaluations of anybody being considered, including relatives and kin, and make a final determination based on what's best for any children involved. And so with that, we urge an aye vote on 1043.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1043? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1043. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. House Bill 1043 has been adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1058.
House Bill 1058 by Representative Dixon, also Senator Buckner, concerning a change to the definition of child-occupied facility as it relates to lead-based paint abatement.
Representative Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Assistant Majority Leader.
Very useful.
I move HB 1058 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
Thank you. To the bill.
Thank you. So this bill, HB 1058, concerns lead exposure regulations in the state of Colorado. This is essentially a statutory fix that allows the CDPHE to continue regulating lead exposure in child-occupied facilities. This is a bill that is supported by the department and is necessary to maintain delegation of authority from the EPA so that the state can continue to carry out those activities on our own behalf. It's a pretty simple bill. It passed unanimously out of committee, and I hope that I can have your support.
Any
Once
further?
again, ask for an aye vote.
Sorry, Representative. Any further discussion on House Bill 1058? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1058. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1058 is adopted. Thank you. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1028, the Mary.
House Bill 1028 by Representatives Bradfield and Young, also Senator Will, concerning a former member of the General Assembly obtaining a name badge indicating that the former member served in the General Assembly.
Representative Bradfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would like to move House Bill 1028 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
Fantastic. To the bill.
Thank
Representative
you.
Bradfield.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1028, name badge. When you retire, when you leave this assembly or the Senate, ethics say that you do not wear the badge that we have any longer. And so there are many former representatives and senators who would like to be recognized as such, but have no name badge that is associated with a former member, and this is that. Now, the things that you need to understand about a badge for a former representative or senator are, go ahead.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The design of the badge will not be similar to our current badge or of that of any other department in the Capitol. It'll be very distinctive. We're working with nonpartisan staff to design that. This badge doesn't come with any privileges or rights that any former member already has. So you don't move past security with this badge. You don't have increased access to the House floor. It does not come with a fiscal note. And these badges will be acquired by the former member at their cost. So there is no cost. And they're working with the chief clerk of the House or the secretary of the Senate for the creation of these badges.
Representative Bradfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The badge probably will look like this very tiny one, which is really the Colorado state flag, which is completely different than any of the badges you see here at the Capitol. And what would be the advantage of somebody having a badge that said, identified them as a former representative or senator? I think the advantage is probably in their community, where they are asked to speak to some expertise that they have had as a senator or representative, and be working with people who did not know them when they were served in the Senate or the House. So therefore, a badge that gave them said that they were a former, then gives them some credibility and some voice of authority. So once again, we would like to ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Young.
This bill provides thank you, Madam Chair. This bill provides an opportunity to recognize former members' service as they continue their work to improve this great state and their local communities. I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1028? Representative DeGraff. Okay. You can go ahead and present that, Representative. You can offer your amendment and ask that it be displayed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a privilege to serve with you. May I have the amendment, looks like L001, be displayed?
You need to move it.
I move.
You,
I move Amendment L001
and ask that it be displayed.
and ask that it be displayed.
Thank you, Representative. Members, Amendment L001 is before us. Representative DeGraff, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have an issue with the overall name tag and the overall fiscal note. The issue is a matter of the voice of authority, as Representative Bradfield mentioned in the building itself. Certainly, it's an advantage in the community. But as, for example, as a military veteran of 30 years, I don't go into the. I don't wear any semblance of rank or in any military function. It does create a. It does change the dynamic. And again, as was noted, it does give a voice of authority. It has an informal veterans deference. Which is what I would refer to as something like playground rules, where the older kid, and then the title of honorable. If we're going to have all of our, lobbyists being called honorable, it also creates an issue. I think it would create a confusing social dynamic here in the building. So that's why I'd say just a former member shall not wear the former name badge while presenting in any state capitol building, acting as a lobbyist, or performing any duties in connection with the representation of any person before the statewide elected official or member of the General Assembly, just to mitigate that lopsided social dynamic. So I move L001 for an aye vote to amend HB 1028. Thank you.
Any further discussion on Amendment L001? Is there any further? Representative Holtorf, you are in the correct place. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, esteemed colleagues, for your attention. I, too, very much like Representative DeGraff, had concerns. I had concerns that many former state representatives spending 1, 2, 3, or 4 terms or more would take that leap from representing the people to working in the lobby corps and representing stakeholder groups, trade associations, and or special interests that they're being paid to represent. Now, speaking with the bill sponsors, I raised this concern because I wouldn't want somebody that was a former representative, perhaps from my district, years prior, coming to me in the capacity of a former representative, but really they're now working in the lobby corps and they're riding the coattails of their label as a former representative or state senator, but they're really working in this other capacity, being paid to influence what goes on in the state capitol. Now, the bill sponsors did give me some comfort, and I'll ask the bill sponsors the question, to the bill sponsors, that there would be no instance where this particular individual, who was a former legislator, would be in the Capitol wearing that badge or label, but they would be working in the lobby corps, where there is a requirement in this building to wear, I believe, a blue nameplate that identifies their name and who they work for. So I would just ask the bill sponsors to clarify that point before we move forward and take a vote on this amendment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. The House will stand in a brief recess. The committee will come back to order. The question before us is Amendment L00001. Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as I meant to say earlier, it is an honor to serve with you.
Honored to serve with you, ma'am.
Representative Bradfield and I have just seen this amendment language as it was presented this morning, and we would encourage a no vote on this amendment today, but we are willing to support discussions with the Senate if this bill moves forward and discuss this amendment language.
The question before us is Amendment L001. Seeing any further discussion, Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to continue the presentation for an aye vote. If we'll go back and note, my concern was having an undue influence and a voice of authority here in the chamber, and that is exerting an influence on the body based on the prestige, the character of the former, and not really knowing what capacity that they're working in. The issue here is in terms of Roman numeral 2, or II, however you want to say it, and that's to remove the lobbyists. So, in my mind, this is saying we would like for the lobbyists to have an undue influence or undue voice of authority here in the building. So, which just reinforces my belief that we need to have this amendment in order to allow the HB 1028 to be effective and not unduly influence this body. I urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Any further discussion on Amendment L001? Seeing none, Representative Ortiz.
Yeah, I'm just going to urge a no vote on L001. I don't see the heartburn here. I mean, when it comes to veteran issues, as an example, when it comes to policy, I appreciate veterans that identify themselves, whether they're wearing those funny little hats, have patches all over themselves, especially when they're weighing in on a veteran issue bill. I mean, ultimately, the decision is still mine to make, right? No one should have undue influence, period. But I do pay attention at least to lived experience. And I would like to know whether they're an RRD, whatever party they represented while they were here, if someone was a previous legislator, identify themselves. Not that it'll affect my decision per se, whether they're in opposition of or supportive of my viewpoint, it will still be a way for me to recognize their lived experience and having served under the dome and understand how this process works. It might or might not influence my vote, just like lobbyists might or might not influence my vote, just like veterans showing up might or might not influence my vote, but it's a way to pay respect without, in my opinion, giving them any undue power and a way to recognize their lived experience. So I urge a no vote.
Any further discussion on Amendment L001? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L001. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. That Amendment L001 fails. To the bill. Any further discussion on House Bill 1028? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1028. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1028 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1045.
House Bill 1045 by Representative Evans, also Senator Pelton B., concerning leave from employment for state military service.
Representative Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1045 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
To the bill, Representative Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this bill addresses an issue with the Colorado National Guard. In case you're not familiar with the National Guard, it is the only reserve component in the military that can perform both federal and state missions. When they are performing federal missions, they are protected by federal law. However, when they are activated by the governor to perform state missions, they lose those federal protections. Now, I have personally encountered a couple of issues that arise when we are performing state missions. The first of these issues is that the current law states that National Guard employees are entitled to receive up to 15 days of military leave every year from their civilian employer. The problem is a lot of these folks that are serving in the National Guard do not work a traditional schedule where 15 days equals approximately 3 weeks, which is what's specified in federal law. So what this bill does is it just clarifies that that's 15 days of leave is actually 3 weeks of leave based on whatever their regular schedule is. So whether their regular schedule is 30 hours a week or 50 hours a week, they get 3 weeks of leave based on their regular schedule, and there's not a lot of dialogue about what does 15 days actually mean. The second issue that this bill rectifies and brings state law into better alignment with federal law is that federal law specifies that if a National Guard member is ordered to duty for federal service, they can use any leave that they're entitled to in any order they want. So they can take paid or unpaid leave. That protection does not currently exist at the state level, which means that after an employee has used their 15 days or 3 weeks of military leave, if their employer has a policy in place that allows that employer to require paid leave to be used first, a National Guard member can actually be forced to use their own personal vacation time in order to respond to a mobilization by the governor. This is something that's personally happened to me and some of my soldiers. So these are the two issues that this bill rectifies, and I ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1045? Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I, in turn, very much support this legislation as a former member of the Colorado Army National Guard, knowing that oftentimes when you do get orders to do either state active duty or federal active duty or temporary duty, oftentimes it's a very short window. And the problem that we have is many times for you to get your kit and get your rucksack and get everything packed up, you don't have enough time. And so this allows for a little more time and flexibility to support that. And that's something I really think this particular piece of legislation brings to help those National Guard members. So I'm an aye vote on this bill.
All right. Representative Hartsuk. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge I vote on this. As a retired active duty Army officer, I served many times in command of Reserve and National Guard. And we would constantly see where the National Guard came in and would have problems getting back to work. And then we were getting involved, trying to get things clarified, getting their pay and a lot of other healthcare issues that should be taken care of when they were on state active duty. So this, I highly recommend this as an aye vote. It takes care of not only the veterans, but it helps our workforce out there and clarifies a lot of administrative paperwork. Thank you so much.
Any further? Representative Armagost.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I, too, served in the Colorado Army National Guard. Had this personally affect me when I was full-time National Guard, having to get activated for a stateside emergency and use my own personal leave, which translates to your own vacation time that you would normally use for family, otherwise personal needs. When that time goes to what you've been called upon for, to burn that time, it's kind of an insult. And before this kind of ability to regulate whether it's unpaid or whether you can translate that into another form of active duty, I think this bill is 100% in support of what we want for our troops that are serving our Colorado Army National Guard, Colorado Air National Guard, and I strongly urge an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion on House Bill 1045, all those in favor of the adoption of House Bill 1045, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. All right, House Bill 1045 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1053.
House Bill 1053 by Representatives Hartsuk and Ortiz, also Senators Zenzinger and Rich, concerning the authority to accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations, and in connection therewith authorizing the Division of Veterans Affairs to expend gifts, grants, and donations in support of the Western Slope Military Veterans Cemetery, authorizing the Department of Public Safety to accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations in support of its purposes, and creating the Department of Public Safety Gifts, Grants, and Donations Fund.
Representative Ortiz.
Madam Chair, it is an honor to serve with you.
Honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 1053 and urge an aye vote.
To the bill, Representative Hartsuk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is one of those little technical bills that makes a huge difference to veterans and law enforcement. Basically, the short of it is that they could collect money, but they can't expend it to honor the veterans, the families, and the law enforcement officers. We had a bipartisan support in the House and Senate. We had a unanimous decision coming out of Military and Veterans Affairs. I urge you for an aye vote on this to take care of the veterans, their families, and the families and veterans of the state law enforcement. Thank you so much.
Representative Ortiz.
And just to give context, members, this is just to allow the expenditure of gift grants and donations. Already allowed to collect for that, but not allowed to spend it. And this will provide services for the Veterans Memorial Cemetery, Western Colorado. They provide services to our veterans and service members, internment, headstone or grave marker, use of facilities, and United States flag at no cost to the families. The oversight will be provided by the Cemetery Administration under defined rules outlined in the DMVA procurement manual. Folks, the bottom line is I think those of us that have served understand how quickly we become like family. And as one of my brother veterans has always stated, is there is a power in place. And being able to honor and converse and connect with brothers and sisters that we served with, and for the family members that lost their loved one is important. I urge an aye vote.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1053? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1053. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1053 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the House now resolve itself into the committee. Oh, sorry. Let's back up here. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Schiebel, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has under consideration the following touch bills, being the second reading thereof and making the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1004 is amended 1028, 1033, 1043 is amended 1045, 1049, 1052, 1053, 1058, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez. Members, you have heard the motion. There are amendments on the desk. Mr. Schiebel, please read the DeGraff amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
Representative DeGraff moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following DeGraff amendment, L001 to House Bill 1028, to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 1028 as amended passed.
Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is truly a privilege to serve with you. Again, this is not to diminish the service of our former colleagues. It is merely to preclude or mitigate the undue influence in the building, which, given the opposition, would make me feel that that was the purpose. And it could also make being a lobbyist contingent on being able to carry such a name tag. I think it's a great idea to have our former colleagues make themselves available and that representation and extend that knowledge to our members in the community so they know where to turn to, what expertise to request. I just think that it creates a imbalance of deference here in the building. And it creates, again, whether you call all the lobbyists in the building wearing such a name tag honorable. How do you address them? How do you acknowledge their experience? Again, it just makes it creates an undue power dynamic here. So I would request a vote in the affirmation, a recorded vote in the affirmation for L001.
Representative DeGraff, can you please move the amendment?
If I knew how to do that accurately, Madam Speaker, I would. So, Madam Speaker, thank you. I would like to move Amendment L001 for an aye vote.
For the adoption by the Committee of the Whole. Excellent. I believe there's further discussion. Thank you, Representative DeGraff. Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it is an honor to serve with you.
And an honor to serve with you.
I restate our objection to this amendment. We have not had time to look at this thoughtfully. It is a multi-part amendment, and we are very open to, if this bill moves forward, discussing with the Senate this particular amendment. I urge a no vote on this amendment to the cow.
Representative Bradfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I too want to echo what Representative Young has said. I urge a no vote on this amendment, please.
And Representative DeGraff. We'll try again.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is a privilege, and I appreciate your patience. On L001, for the reasons I said, I move for the adoption of the DeGraff Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report. How was that?
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, the question is the adoption of the DeGraff Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Morrow. Representative Morrow, can you hear us? Representative Morrow is excused.
I'm here. How do you want me to vote?
Representative Morrow, please proceed to vote.
In the chat box?
Verbally.
Okay.
The question before us is the adoption of amendment, the DeGraff Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report. How do you vote? Representative Morrow, I believe you're still on mute.
Yes, I voted in the chat box. Is that correct or no?
Representative Morrow, we need for you to say verbally your vote on the DeGraff Amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
I vote no.
Representative Morrow votes no. Representative Byrd, excused. Representative Herod, excused. Representative Soper, excused. Please close the machine. With 19 aye, 42 noes, 3 excused and 1 vacant, the amendment fails. There are no further amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Morrow. Representative Morrow, you are still on mute.
I'm sorry, which vote is this?
Representative Morrow, how do you vote on the Committee of the Whole report?
Yes.
Representative Morrow votes yes. With 45 aye, close the machine. With 45 aye votes, 17 no, 2 excused, and 1 vacant, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Thank you, members. Great first outing. Any further announcements and introductions, members? Seeing none. Oh, Representative Woodrow.
Soak it in. Members, just an announcement that the House State Civic, Military, and Veterans Affairs Committee will be meeting at 1:30 in LSBA to hear House Bill 1072.
Thank you. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no further discussion, the House will stand in recess until later today.